Assalamu alaikum. I welcome all the participants in our today's seminar. As you know, the seminar series is a part of TAS event calendar and is carried out on every Thursday at 2 p.m. Today, the topic of our seminar is Agro Nanotechnology Myths and Reality, Role of Nano-Fertilizers in Farming System. And it is being presented by Dr. Ghulam Abbas Shah, Assistant Professor, Department of Agronomy. I hope this scientific talk will provide an opportunity to get in-depth knowledge on the topic. After the presentation, there will be a question-answer session where participants can ask their questions. So over to Dr. Ghulam Abbas Shah, please.
Thank you very much, sir. As already introduced, today's topic is Agro Nanotechnology, Myths and Reality, Role of Nano-Fertilizers in Farming Systems. First, I will introduce about nanotechnology. Nano is a Greek word meaning dwarf. It's a manipulation of matter to size less than 100 nanometer. It was first introduced by Dr. Richard Feynman. The nanoparticle have size less than 110,000th the size of bacterium and 80,000th the size of human hair. And the revolution begins 47 years ago when Dr. Richard Feynman first introduced nanomaterials. These are kinds of the nanomaterials commonly used. These are liposomes, polymer, micelle, gold nanoparticles, dendrine, oil nanoemulsions, porous nanoparticle, iron oxide nanoparticle, carbon nanotubes. Why nanotechnology is important? Globally, annual crop production is greater than 9.4 billion tons per annum. Annual use of fertilizer, the conventional fertilizer is 190 million tons, and pesticide 2.7 million metric tons, and water we use 9,087 billion cubic meter, and energy 580 million terajoules. It will further increase worldwide when the population will increase in 2050 up to 10 billion people. And currently we are 815 million people which are malnutrition, and additional 2 billion will be added till 250. So at that time we have to enhance our crop productivity and ensure food security. Therefore, we have to increase our production per unit area, and we have to introduce smart fertilizers, especially the nano fertilizers. Why is the use of nano fertilizer better than conventional fertilizers? The unique properties of nanoparticles make them potential plant growth enhancer, which is due to high absorption capacity, the increased surface to volume ratio of the nanoparticles, control release kinetics to targeted site, and then the nanofertilizer are released very slowly and comparison to conventional fertilizers. They are needed in small amount because they are very active. They have active sites. Their activity is too fast when they are added into the soils. They are slow release, but they are readily available to the plants, and they are needed in a small quantities to fulfill the requirement of the plants. So besides, they have low ammonia and greenhouse gaseous emission and low eutrophication problems. Nanofertilizers, they have 18 to 29% higher nitrogen, reported to increase soybean growth rate by 32% and yield by 20%. Some nutrient uptake through nano nanometric pores facilitated by nanostructure cuticle fluid. These pictures, first you see these nanometric pores when they are these are the nanometric pores when nano fertilizer is applied through foliar applications. They enter through cuticle layers or through stomata into the plant cells, and then they are becomes available to the plants. They are either applied through foliar applications or through soil application as a nano fertilizer. These are the mechanisms how they work. Either apply through foliar application, they enter through nanometric these pores through cuticle layers, and these red dots you can see they enter through cuticle layers and through mesophyll layers and epidermis layers into the cells, and they becomes available to the plants. Or they absorb through xylem. They becomes and when the plants uptake this water, they becomes available to the plants, or either they penetrate into the plant cells because they are very small. The plant cells, they have size of 100 to 10 to 100 micrometer, and the nanoparticles, they have less than 100 nanometers, so they can enter into the plant cells and it becomes directly available to the plants. Again, if you see, these are the foliage applications, and there's a through irrigation available through root hair absorption and through xylem to the plants, and are through direct application to the cuticle on the plant leaves and goes to the plant cells. Positive and negative impacts of the nanofertilizers. These are some results from the literatures. See, these are the impacts of silver nanoparticles, the positive impacts on Lolium multifolium, Aruca sativa, enhance plant growth. And if you look at the negative impact on different crops like maize, sorghum, Lolium multiflorum, and other crops, at low concentration, root and shoot length increases, but at high concentration, it decreases the length. These reduces root growth and root length and biomass. They broke epidermis and root cap. They different concentration affect the seed germination, decrease root weight and increase biomass reduction in growth. So at high concentration, they have the negative impact. At low concentration, they have the positive impact. And this is about the silver nanoparticle. If you look at the zinc nanoparticle, they also have positive and negative impact. The positive impact on different crops, they increase micronutrients. Zinc is also act as a micronutrient. They increase dry shoot weight. They increase biomass, root and shoot length. They enhance germination and shoot growth. They increase germination at low concentration, but decrease seed germination at high concentration. Besides, ZNO has negative impact on root growth, inhibit chlorophyll synthesis, which in turn reduce photosynthetic efficiency. They also reduce germination and simultaneously inhibit root growth and Brassica napus. सरसों में ये negative impact है इनके. Positive and negative impact of SiO and silicon. They have positive impact at low concentration, enhance seed germination of tomato, promotes effect on germination, increase dry and fresh weight of leaves, and again positive impact, they enhance germination. And aluminium, they have positive impact, significantly improve elongation, decrease plant growth and development. Copper, the positive impact, they increase germination percentage. And iron, they have positive impact, reduce and root length, reduction in root length. And the negative impact, the inhibitory effect on the development. So again, this is the carbon nanotubes, they have the, and then the multi-walled carbon nanotubes, they also have positive and the negative impact. So it depends on the nature of the nano fertilizer, and also the dose of the nano fertilizer you apply, and also the plant species you use for experimental purpose or for the growth purpose. Next, I will show you some results of our experiments, where we use nano fertilizers as a fertilizer. From one of our experiment about co-application of eco-friendly ZNO nanoparticle and biochars to improve soil biochemical characteristics and RHODES grass yield. And there was different treatment. We have control where we applied nothing, and we have nanoparticle, ZNO nanoparticles we applied at the rate of 100 milligram per kilogram of soil, 10 milligram per kilogram of soil, which was 47 milligram per pot. Then it was chemical fertilizer, and then these nanoparticle combined with chemical fertilizer. Then there was kitchen waste biochar alone and combined with nanoparticles. Then farmyard manure biochar combined with nanoparticles. Then there was poultry manure biochar combined with nanoparticle. Then there was solid slaughterhouse waste biochar combined with same amount of nanoparticle. And these are the eco-friendly nanoparticle produced from it. It is a wheat, which is in cotton field. So we got it and we put these nanoparticle. These are mostly non-toxic, but of these nanoparticle. So if you look at the results, then you can see then when nanoparticle are combined with these kind of fertilizers, chemical fertilizer or the biochars, they increase soil mineral content, also the plant nitrogen uptake compared to their sole application. This is a sole, and this is when it is combined with the nanoparticle. This is sole, and when kitchen waste biochar combined with the nanoparticle, only 10 milligram of zinc oxide nanoparticle was applied, and this is a sole, and it is combined with the nanoparticle. So when nanoparticle was applied as an additive with these fertilizers, they increase plant nitrogen uptake up to 20 to 30%, and also the yield of RHODES grass. In another experiment, in this experiment and another result, they also improved plant phosphorus uptake, because nanoparticle, especially the zinc oxide nanoparticle, they enhance the enzyme activity, P-mobilizing enzyme activity, and consequently plant uptake of zinc and also the P-mobilization, and as a result they enhance the P uptake of the plants, energy transfer reaction and development of reproductive structure, and all the P activities they increase. So this was also happened. Next is comparison of animal manures and their nanobiochars for mitigating ammonia emissions and improving crop yield. In this experiment, we used different types of manures and their NANOBIOCHAR for the comparison that which one is the best. And goat manure, camel manure, and the horse manure and their NANOBIOCHAR was used. Actually, their NANOBIOCHAR was prepared by grinding these samples in a ball mill and sieving them in 2M mesh sieve to get these nanoparticle less than 100 nanometer in diameter. आपने देखा होगा कि ये जो हमारे हकीम होते हैं, ये कुश्ते तैयार करते हैं तो इनका शागिर्द बैठा होता है, वो ग्राइंड करता रहता है, बार बार उनको रगड़ता रहता है ताकि वो जो पार्टिकल है वो छोटे से छोटे साइज में कन्वर्ट होते हैं। वो जितने छोटे साइज में कन्वर्ट होते रहेंगे, नैनो साइज में जाते रहेंगे, उतने ही वो फिर कुश्ते इफेक्टिव होते हैं। जब वो आप खाते हैं, उनके जो दवाइयाँ होती हैं तो वो फिर आपके सेल्स में जज्ब होती हैं, सेल्स में पेनिट्रेट होती हैं, ह्यूमन बॉडी के सेल्स में, और वो एक्टिव होती हैं और वो इफेक्टिव होती हैं। तो इसी तरह ही बायोचार के जो नैनो पार्टिकल हैं वो भी हम लोगों ने बनाए, इसको ग्राइंड किया है, बार बार इसको ग्राइंड किया है और फिर जो मेश साइज है उसमें से इसको पास किया है, जो बॉल मिल है उसमें, और इसको कन्वर्ट किया है हमने नैनो पार्टिकल्स में, और फिर उस पर एक्सपेरिमेंट लगाया है। दोनों को हमने सेम नाइट्रोजन एप्लीकेशन रेट पे अप्लाई किया है, विच इज 83 किलोग्राम नाइट्रोजन पर हेक्टर। सो बोथ manures and their NANOBIOCHAR were applied at the same application rate of 83 kilogram nitrogen per hectare. And if you look at the results, by converting these manures into their NANOBIOCHAR, they have improved soil mineralization significantly, and also they have reduced ammonia emissions significantly. If you look at them, there was also no difference between the manures, but compared with their between these NANOBIOCHARs and between these manure, but compared with manures and NANOBIOCHAR, the ammonia emission was significantly reduced. Also, if you look at the plant and uptake, especially the shoot and uptake, it was enhanced by converting these manures to NANOBIOCHAR. So they were very effective if we only convert these manures to NANOBIOCHAR and then apply to the plants. In next experiment, we use copper oxide nanoparticles and goat manure NANOBIOCHAR mixture to increase soil nutrient availability in rhizosphere and improve wheat production. There were only 4 treatments. One was control with no fertilization, and there was copper oxide nanoparticle, which was applied at the rate of 1000 milligram per kilogram of soil, which is equal to 1000 ppm. There was goat manure NANOBIOCHAR, which was applied at the rate of same 1000 milligram per kilogram of soil, and a mixture of NANOBIOCHAR and copper nanoparticle, each 1000. They were applied at the same rate. And if you look at the results, even there was high doses of copper applied, each at 1000, and they have improved soil mineral nitrogen, soil potassium uptake, and also plant available P. And because also copper was applied and soil copper uptake was also improved by application of copper oxide nanoparticle, even at high doses of 1000 milligram per kilogram of soils. So it's not only the dose, it's also the type of the you use and the type of the crop which is grown as a test crop. And if you look at the wheat N uptake, and the N uptake was also enhanced when the mixture of NANOBIOCHAR and nanoparticle was used as a fertilizer to wheat crop. Copper uptake was also enhanced where copper was applied as a fertilizer. In next experiment, comparison between NANOBIOCHAR and nanoparticles to improve crop nutrient utilization from horse manure, there are 7 treatments. One was control where nothing was applied, and one was chemical fertilizer where chemical fertilizer urea was applied at the rate of 134 kilogram of nitrogen per hectare. Then horse manure was applied at the same nitrogen application rate of 134 kilogram per hectare, and then there was combination of chemical fertilizer plus copper oxide nanoparticle, which was applied at the rate of 1000 milligram per kilogram of soil, horse manure, and then copper oxide nanoparticle, and then chemical fertilizer with NANO-BIOCHAR of goat manure, and horse manure with NANO-BIOCHAR of goat manure. Both copper oxide nanoparticle and NANO-BIOCHAR of goat manure were applied at the rate of pot experiment. And if you look at the results, they are very interesting. That chemical fertilizer along with NANO-BIOCHAR, they have improved soil nitrogen mineralization, soil available potassium, soil available phosphorus. All 3 nutrients NPK were improved only with the chemical fertilizer and at NANO-BIOCHAR. However, if you look at the horse manure with the nanoparticles, they have negative impact here when horse manure was mixed with nanoparticle at the rate of 1000 milligram per kilogram of soil. This metal now has toxic effect when mixed with organic fertilizer. And however, if you look at the copper content, because copper is present in the copper oxide nanoparticle, so the copper content in the soil was improved when horse manure was applied with nanoparticle of copper oxide. Next, if you look at the plant nitrogen uptake was also higher when chemical fertilizer was mixed with NANO-BIOCHAR of goat manure. Similarly, copper uptake was improved where there was more copper in the soil with horse manure and NANO-BIOCHAR, nanoparticles of copper oxide. Next is the influence of RHIZOBIA, phosphate solubilizing bacteria, and nickel nanoparticle coated urea on maize nutrient use efficiency. This is nano-biofertilizer, we call it, because we used microbes along with nano-fertilizer, so it is known as nano-biofertilizer. And there was treatment, one was control and one was uncoated fertilizer, and nickel oxide nanoparticle, which was applied at the rate of 10 milligram per kilogram of soil, low dose, and then phosphate solubilizing bacteria at the rate of 1 kilogram per hectare. RHIZOBIA 5.3 milligram per pot, which was also 1 kilogram per hectare. And then CU, this is the coated urea, nickel oxide nanoparticle coated urea. Urea was coated, and then PSB with this coated urea and RHIZOBIA with coated urea, and then PSB, RHIZOBIA and coated urea, they were applied together at the same application rate as was the SOL. A combination of biofertilizer and nanostructure can be referred to as nano-biofertilizer, as we did here, that we combined nano-fertilizer, nano-coated urea with these phosphate solubilizing bacteria and RHIZOBIA, which is known as nano-biofertilizer. Nano-biofertilizer, what it does, it enhances the growth of the soil microorganisms or the growth of these RHIZOBIA and phosphate solubilizing bacteria. The function mechanism of these nano-biofertilizer in plants is enhanced, and as a result, the plant nutrient uptake and plant yield is enhanced. But this happens when this nano-fertilizer is applied at low doses, especially the nanoparticles are applied at low doses. And here we use only 10 milligram of nickel oxide nanoparticle per kilogram of soil. These are the results, and they are very promising. If you look at the last bar here, when we combine everything together with coated urea along with RHIZOBIA, which is nitrogen fixing bacteria along with phosphate solubilizing bacteria, then the soil mineralization was significantly improved, along with plant nitrogen uptake was improved. Maize nutrient use efficiency was enhanced, and as a result, about 35% dry matter yield of maize was improved because of using this nano biofertilizer. Next is effect of foliar applied magnetic Fe3O4 iron nanoparticle on onion productivity under different fertilizer regimes. Here there was two types of onion genotypes, Pulcara and F1 One is local and one is hybrid. And we used three types of fertilizer treatment. One was control, one was chemical fertilizer, NPK applied at a recommended dose, and one was our farmyard manure, organic fertilizer applied at the rate of 12.5 tons per hectare. It was also recommended. And we applied magnetic iron nanoparticle, which one treatment with no iron nanoparticle and one treatment applied magnetic iron nanoparticle at the rate of 10 milligram per liter, foliar applied magnetic nanoparticle at two stages, at bulb initiation and at bulb development stage. At two stages, they were applied at two locations, in Islamabad at Chakwal. If you look at the soil mineral and content with inorganic or organic, there is no difference. The foliar application does not affect on the soil mineral and content of the of soil in both location in Islamabad and Chakwal. Also the varieties does not affect the soil mineral and content. However, the foliar application have affected the plant nitrogen uptake, especially if you look at the bulb nitrogen uptake downward is the bulb nitrogen uptake, and inorganic when V2 and inorganic and nanoparticle were foliarly applied. If you look there, then the bulb nitrogen uptake, and also where there is a nitrogen uptake, more nitrogen uptake, there is more yield was enhanced here at V2 inorganic and nanoparticle, and here also V2 inorganic and nanoparticle. V2 is the hybrid onion variety, and hybrid have more potential to nutrient uptake, and it was also enhanced. So foliar application at low doses enhanced the bulb size and also bulb nitrogen uptake, and at the end bulb yield in onion. We applied only 10 milligram per liter of iron nanoparticle here. So these are all the positive results of iron, iron and zinc and other copper, even other nanoparticles which were used at low concentration, except copper oxide, which was used at high concentration of 1000 milligram per kilogram of soils. These positive effect, what they do, they improve seed germination and seedling growth. They improve soil and mineralization and plant nitrogen uptake. Most of the result I have shown you, they were about nitrogen mineralization and plant nitrogen uptake. They enhance plant growth. They increase plant micronutrient uptake. Some of them I also show you the micronutrients uptake, and they improve root and shoot length at low concentration. Of course, most of them are used at low concentration of 10 milligram per kilogram of soil or 10 milligram per liter, except this copper, which was used at 1000 milligram per kilogram of soil. Increase shoot and root biomass and improve stem elongation. These are the positive results which were observed. Some negative results of these nano fertilizers. So they are not always positive. They also have negative impact on the plant growth and yield. It depends on the type of the nanoparticle you use. It depends on the amount of the nanoparticle used. It depends on the type of the species, crop species you use. So number one negative result is toxicity of nickel oxide nanoparticle to soil nutrient availability and herbages. It was a ryegrass and uptake from poultry manure. So the treatment was, one was control with no fertilization as a check. One was poultry manure, only alone poultry manure applied at a recommended nitrogen rate of 136 kilogram nitrogen per hectare, and poultry manure at the rate of 550 and 100 milligram nickel oxide nanoparticle. So low dose, then little bit high 50, and then more high 100 milligram per kilogram of soil. And ryegrass was grown, which was harvested 3 times during the growing season. And if you look at the results at the low doses, the results are okay. They are comparable. This is a control, and then there is poultry manure sole, and then there is only low dose, little bit enhancement in the mineralization, and doses increase. Doses increase from 50 to 100, and then if you look at the result, then the N mineralization is reduced from in 50, and then in 100 is significantly reduced. So toxicity has been shown at high doses nickel oxide nanoparticle application. And similarly, the shoot and uptake was significantly reduced at high doses of 50 and 100 milligram per kilogram of soil and application rate. And there is no difference between poultry manure and NP1 PM at low dose and poultry manure sole application. But if you look at the high doses, especially at 100 milligram per kilogram of soil, significant reduction in uptake was observed. Next, the toxicity of zinc oxide and iron nanoparticles amended vermicompost to improve soil biochemical characteristics and RHODES grass yield. Again, there is a toxicity at high doses. So different doses of these nanoparticles, zinc and iron oxide was used, starting from 10 to 500. So starting from very low 10 to very high doses, from 10, 25, 50, 100, and 500. If you look at here, then increase in the doses, decrease the N mineralization. Only the 10 is little bit acceptable. And if you look at 25, 50, 100, and 500, then the N uptake has been significantly going down. They are creating toxicity. How they create toxicity? When you apply a lot of nanoparticle into the soil, or the high doses of nanoparticle into the soil, then they kill the organism, the soil microorganisms, which do the decomposition and mineralization. In a simple way, the mineralization is reduced because the decomposer are reduced, are being killed. These nanoparticles, I have already told you, they are 110,000s the size of these bacterium. These are very small. They can penetrate into the bacterium cell, and they can rupture it, and they can kill it at high doses. And if they do so, then the mineralization and decomposition is reduced. And at the end, if you look here, and if there is no less soil mineral nitrogen into the soil, then an uptake by the plants is also reduced, because the plants mostly uptake the nitrogen from the soil in the form of mineral nitrogen, which is nitrate nitrogen and ammonium nitrogen. They cannot take up these one, and at the end, no or less nitrogen is taken up by the plants, and their production is also reduced. Next is efficacy of NANO-BIOCHAR coated DAP and urea bio-augmented with phosphate solubilizing bacteria on maize nutrient uptake. And here also we used control on coated DAP and urea, and then coated NANO-BIOCHAR with 2.5, 5, and 10%. And we also added phosphate solubilizing bacteria and RHIZOBIA. We coated with farmyard manure NANO-BIOCHAR, these urea and DAP at 2.5%, 5% and 10% to DAP and urea, and added both of them at 50-50%. And what happened when you coat at high doses like 5 to 10% on DAP and urea, then the mineral nitrogen is reduced. Same happens because you added these microbes, phosphate solubilizing bacteria and rhizobia, and these NANO-BIOCHAR impact on these phosphate solubilizing bacteria, reduce their efficiency, and at the end, mineral nitrogen is being reduced. And as a result, nitrogen uptake is also low at high doses of NANO-BIOCHAR when mixed with these phosphate solubilizing bacteria and rhizobia. Next is NANO-BIOCHAR associated toxicity to microbial biomass, corn, K uptake from farmyard manure. So there are actually a treatment on fertilized control. Then we applied farmyard manure at recommended N rate, which is 100 kilogram nitrogen per hectare for corn crop. Then it's a NANO-BIOCHAR alone at 12.5% of the recommended dose. Then is 25%, then is 50%, and then mixture of farmyard manure replaced 87.5% farmyard manure and replaced with 12.5% NANO-BIOCHARs, and 75% farmyard manure, 25% NANO-BIOCHAR, 50% original farmyard manure, and 50% farmyard manure NANO-BIOCHAR. And what happened? If you look at the result, this is farmyard manure alone. This is farmyard manure with 12.5% NANO-BIOCHAR, and this is like 25%, and this is 50% replacement of nitrogen of farmyard manure. Higher the addition of farmyard manure NANO-BIOCHAR, lower the potassium uptake being observed. And if you look at the microbial biomass, as I told you, these NANO-BIOCHAR are the nanoparticle at high doses. They impact on soil microbes. And here is the proof that the microbial biomass, this is the microbial biomass nitrogen and carbon when sole farmyard manure was added. This is when only 12.5% replacement was done, and this is when 25% replacement was done, and this is when there was 50-50% replacement. So as 50-50% replacement, there are very little or low soil microbial biomass carbon and nitrogen. And soil microbial biomass carbon and nitrogen shows how much microbial bodies are there in the form of carbon and nitrogen. So they are reduced. It means there are less nitrogen available to the plants, then there is less nitrogen uptake, and at the end of the day, so the dry matter yield is also very poor. So how the toxic effects of nanoparticle in plants occur? When the nanoparticle are applied to the plants, then they have the poor germination, they reduce pollen viability, they damage the photosynthetic machinery, and then when they damage the photosynthetic machinery, then they have the oxidative outburst, they disrupt the membranes and cellular damage, they alternate the genes expression, and they reduce seed germination at high concentration. They have the inhibitory effect on plant development. High doses reduce root and shoot length, broke epidermal and root caps because they can penetrate into the cell deeper and they can disrupt the cell and they can kill the cells. They decrease the shoot and root biomass. They inhibit They inhibit chlorophyll synthesis, leading to reduced photosynthetic efficiency. They inhibit soil microbial growth, organic matter decomposition, and mineralization at high doses. This is how they do the toxic effect. So what should we do? We should be careful when selection of the type of the material, which material we are going to use as a fertilizer, as a coating material for the conventional fertilizer, like we did coating of urea, coating of DAP with the nanoparticle. Which material are we going to use? What is their size? What are the doses, or what are the concentration of these nanoparticle we are going to use? What are the application method? Are these foliar application? Are these soil applications we are going to apply? How long will they stay into the soil? What are the type of the plant species what we are going to use? Each and every plant species have their different requirement of nutrient, and they have different capacity to uptake nutrient from the soil. So plant species also show different impact when this nanoparticles and nanofertilizer are applied to them. And the limitations, what are the limitations of the nanofertilizers? One is the lack of nanofertilizer risk management systems. We don't have this risk management system. One is lack of production and availability of nanofertilizers in required quantities. This limits the wider scale adaptation of nanofertilizer as a source of plant nutrients. We don't have the production facilities of nanofertilizer and required quantities and a required concentration. And then there is a high cost of these nanofertilizers which are available into the market. And then is the lack of standardization in the formulation process. As I told you, each and every nanoparticle has different impact, and standards should be formed for each and every nanoparticle and their behavior. This brings about different results of the same nanomaterial under various pedoclimatic conditions. This is also true. Each soil type also affect on the response of the nanoparticle. Also plant species effect, also their dose and also their concentration. They also impact on the nanoparticle. So these are the limitations we should also deal before making them as a commercial fertilizer. So approved nanofertilizer manufacturer company worldwide. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, we don't have any approved nanofertilizer manufacturing company. But however, in Germany, we have Nano Calcium, AC International Network Co. Limited, Germany, Nano Micronutrient, Sean Mo Trading Co. Limited, India, Nano Green, India, and BIOCHEMICAL nanofertilizer, also in Iran. So some companies are manufacturing these nanofertilizers, and they are available in the market. In Pakistan, we don't have any. However, we are doing some basic research on different kind of nanoparticles, and maybe in future we will have some company. Thank you very much. Any questions?
The house is now open for question and answer session. Okay, if there are no questions, then I would like to thank Dr. Ghulam Abbas Shah for delivering a very interesting and informative lecture on this subject. And I would also like to thank all the participants for sparing their precious time for our today's seminar. Our next seminar would also be on next Thursday at the same time. Till then, Allah Hafiz.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you, sir. Thank you.
you.
अल्लाह हाफिज जी।